Clem Burke, the dynamic and electrifying drummer whose propulsive rhythms helped catapult Blondie into international stardom during the late 1970s and early 1980s, has died at the age of 70. His death was confirmed by the band in a statement released Sunday which cited cancer as the cause. No additional details, including where he passed away, were immediately disclosed, though Blondie is most often associated with its magnetic frontwoman Debbie Harry, whose striking looks and commanding presence became emblematic of the band's visual identity. It was Burke's frenetic, passionate drumming that often served as the heartbeat of the group. Whether delivering disco-infused dance beats or anchoring reggae, punk, or rock songs, Burke was the percussive backbone of a band that constantly evolved, experimenting with sound while staying rooted in style and rhythm. From his rapid-fire intro on 1980's Call Me to the Caribbean sway he brought to The Tide is High, also released in 1980, Burke's versatility and energy made him indispensable to Blondie's success. Across genres and eras, his performances were seamless and instinctive, infused with both technical precision and raw feeling. Blondie was more than just a band. It was a cultural phenomenon, emerging from the gritty art and music scene of New York's Lower East Side in the mid-1970s. It was a time and place that produced legends, the Ramones, Talking Heads, television, and Burke was right at the center of it all. His contributions, though sometimes understated compared to Harry's iconic image, were essential in shaping the eclectic sound that came to define the group. He played on every one of Blondie's 11 studio albums, the first 6 recorded between 1976 and 1982, and the remainder after the band's reunion in 1997. With hits like Heart of Glass, Rapture, One Way or Another, and Dreaming, Blondie achieved both critical and commercial acclaim, carving a unique space in the musical landscape that straddled punk, pop, disco, reggae, and hip-hop. A drummer from birth. Clement Anthony Bozoski was born on November 24, 1954, in Bayonne, New Jersey, into a working-class household infused with music. His father, Clement J. Bozoski, was a professional drummer who played in local clubs around northern New Jersey, while his mother, Antoinette, née Terracciano, kept the home running. From an early age, young Clem was drawn to music, particularly the rhythmic pulse of rock and roll, which was gaining momentum across America. Burke learned to play drums from his father, who instilled in him a deep appreciation for the greats, from jazz legends to the early icons of rock. As he grew older, Burke immersed himself in the music of Chuck Berry, Eddie Cochran, and other trailblazers who helped shape rock music's foundation. The American roots of rock and roll. Chuck Berry, Eddie Cochran, that was the foundation of what I loved from an early age. He told Mixdown magazine in 2023. It just spiraled from there. By his teenage years, he was regularly crossing the Hudson River into Manhattan to play in various rock outfits, all while absorbing the sounds and styles permeating the city's clubs and underground venues. His musical palette expanded to include British invasion icons like the Beatles and The Who, and it was Keith Moon, the flamboyant, chaotic genius behind The Who's drum kit, who became his ultimate inspiration. The birth of Blondie. In 1974, fate came calling in the form of a classified ad in The Village Voice. Placed by guitarist Chris Stein and singer Debbie Harry, the ad was seeking a drummer for a new band. Burke showed up to the audition wearing a sailor-style shirt, an intentional homage to Keith Moon. His bold fashion choice and explosive talent made an immediate impression. The trio bonded over their mutual love for avant-garde acts such as David Bowie, Iggy Pop, and the Velvet Underground. Soon after, they were joined by bassist Gary Valentine and keyboardist Jimmy Destry, completing the initial lineup of what would become Blondie. The band quickly found a home at venues like Max's Kansas City and the legendary CBGV in Manhattan's East Village. These gritty, often ramshackle clubs served as incubators for the punk and post-punk movements, providing space for emerging artists to push boundaries and redefine genres. Blondie embraced the raw energy of punk while infusing their music with pop sensibility and a chameleonic willingness to experiment. The band's self-titled debut album, released in December 1976, hinted at the creative explosions to come. Over the next few years, they would conquer the charts with a series of genre-defying hits, propelled in large part by Burke's masterful drumming. Percussion meets pop innovation. Burke's ability to shape-shift behind the drum kit allowed Blondie to transcend stylistic boundaries. On Heart of Glass, his beat bridged the worlds of disco and rock, creating a sound that was both danceable and rebellious. Rapture saw him embrace hip-hop grooves, an early and daring move for a mainstream rock band. His seamless transitions between styles helped Blondie achieve what many bands of the era could not: mass appeal across wildly different audiences. In an interview with the Sarasota Herald-Tribune in 2004, Burke acknowledged the band's eclectic output. "Our records were always all over the place. I always admired bands that didn't stick to one particular style." That musical flexibility, combined with an image-forward sensibility, made Blondie a dominant force in the early days of MTV and modern pop rock culture. Even in an era where image often overshadowed substance, Burke held his own. With his thick mop of hair and boyish features, he was a visual standout. Rolling Stone once ranked him among the 100 greatest drummers of all time, placing him at No. 61, a testament to both his skill and impact. Life after Blondie. And back again. Following an intense run that saw the release of 6 albums in just over 6 years, Blondie disbanded in 1982. But Burke's career was far from over. He became a sought-after session and touring drummer, working with a diverse roster of legendary artists, including David Bowie, Bob Dylan, Pete Townshend, and the Eurythmics. In 1981, he contributed drums to Joan Jett and the Blackhearts' iconic anthem, "I Love Rock and Roll," a song that remains a staple of classic rock radio. He also briefly performed with the Ramones in 1987, adopting the name Elvis Ramone for 2 shows. His ability to fit seamlessly into different musical environments only solidified his reputation as one of rock's most versatile and reliable drummers. He also formed and joined several bands over the years, including Checkered Past, the Plimsolls, the International Swingers, and the Split Squad. Each project offered him a chance to explore different facets of rock music, from glam and punk to power pop. Still, Blondie remained a significant part of his life. When the band reformed in the late 1990s, Burke was right there behind the kit. The 1999 album No Exit, which featured the hit Maria, introduced the band to a new generation of listeners. Burke continued to play on every subsequent Blondie album, including The Curse of Blondie, 2003, Panic of Girls, 2011, Ghosts of Download, 2014, and Pollinator, 2017. Although the reformed band's spotlight increasingly focused on the iconic duo of Harry and Stain, Burke remained a core presence, the steady hand and driving force that linked the band's original spirit with its modern incarnation. A legacy rooted in rhythm. Burke never lost the spark that initially drove him to music. His love of drumming was infectious, and his playing was often described as both muscular and melodic, an unusual but powerful combination. He believed in the power of rhythm not just to support a song, but to elevate it. He was also deeply philosophical about his craft. "Everybody around me seemed to think that becoming a rock star was unobtainable, but I never felt that way," he told Modern Drummer magazine in 1985. "I felt that this was how I was going to be able to escape my working-class existence. I was on a quest to find the perfect lead singer. I always say that when I met Debbie, I sort of found my Mick Jagger." That quest turned into a lifelong musical journey that took him from basement clubs in New Jersey to stadiums around the world. His drumming influenced countless musicians and helped shape the sound of an era. In 1978, just before a Blondie show, Burke learned that his idol Keith Moon had died. After the set, Overwhelmed with emotion, he kicked his drums into the audience and shouted, "That's for Keith Moon, the greatest drummer in the world." In many ways, Burke carried Moon's spirit with him, not just in technique, but in showmanship and passion. Final notes. Information